As divine verdure fertilizes, the malign verdure corrupts. What is left is a holy husk. Hollow ones cling to faith, fanged ones honor power. Foolish sages protect the lie. But the medium song remains, guiding you to Yggdrasil. You hold the wings to soar in this tempestuous saga. Winds of beginning, blow now. Etrian Odyssey 4, Legends of the Titan. Hey there everyone, this is Liferig. Welcome to my playthrough of Etrian Odyssey 4, the fourth in the Etrian Odyssey series developed by Atlas. Fourth of the usual. This one lets you set your difficulty. We're going to start on normal, and of course we're going to dive into the game as best I can. I'm going to try not to do some overloading, so some things will be kind of held off until they're appropriate. But basically, difficulty choosing is no big deal. What I recommend is you just go with normal, and if you find things getting difficult, change over to casual. It's that easy. You're now introduced into the city of Tharsis. Legend says something sleeps deep within Yggdrasil that calls people to eternal paradise. A little bit of backstory and a goal, I'm sure, to get us started. In order to ascertain the truth of this legend, the Count of Tharsis has issued a challenge across the land. Reach Yggdrasil and uncover the truth. That summons has drawn countless explorers to the city. You are among the number of pilgrims to the city with little to your name but a blade and boundless curiosity. You may or may not be an actual member of your guild, in which case this is just a little bit of roleplay flavor text. Nonetheless, you aim to solve the mystery of Yggdrasil and win fame and fortune, aka that entire text box was the goal of the game. Let's make our way into the Explorers Guild, since it is the only place we can go. Now this song features blaring trumpets, so I'm going to be turning it down in a little bit, but hey, for now let's just trudge through the text. Welcome to Tharsis. This is the Explorers Guild, where your kind pulls their talents in something like a mutual aid society. Okay, cool. We have to become part of a guild? No, I'd like to make one, sir. Yes. The guild identity in Tharsis, so think over carefully before deciding on a name. Turn that down before the blazing trumpets get introduced and I start blowing my own ears off. Other players may have with Street Pass can see your stuff. Be considerate. Gotcha. This is going to be for Zarian, because if it was for anyone else, you would not be watching Liferig. Keep things nice and simple. Ah, crap. That's going to be a die-hard habit. If you don't know what I was fiddling on with there, don't worry about it. Next, you need to register the Explorers Guild. You want in Zarian's guild forming an adventuring party. Up to you who to recruit, but you can't go wrong with something balanced. Alright, so balance is simple. You have 7 classes. You go on to a bunch of front row classes, a bunch of back row classes. They're pretty much in order, kind of. So I will just do a quick overview of each of the classes to kind of get you a basic idea of what they're capable of. So the 7 classes they start you off with are the Landsknecht, which is a medium damage dealer, has good defense, generally an awesome class. Nightseeker is the glass cannon. Fortress is your wall. Snipers are your far-ranged physical attackers. Medics are your healers, Rune Masters are your back row magic damage, and Dancers are the people who buff your team. Fairly straightforward. You can fill multiple roles with the same people. For example, if you don't want to necessarily use a medic, you can use your Dancer as a healer. They have some healing skills available, as does the Landsknecht's bandage. So you have a lot of variety, you have a lot of things you can consider. I believe you can even see what skills they learn, though you can't get in-depth details by pressing the Y button on your screen. So that's it for the quick overview. Let's get into what my party's going to be. We're going to go with the Dancer, because they're generally awesome. This is the only returning member to this playthrough from another one of my playthroughs. This is going to be Flora. She's making a return from EO1 and EO2 because her character sprite highly resembles those other sprites, the Troubadour sprites from EO1 and EO2. The next member we're going to pick is after the Dancer, we're going to pick the Nightseeker. I usually am not a fan of picking the ninja classes early on, aka the fast, high damage dealing classes early on, because of their susceptibility to death. But in this game I make an exception because they are also capable of inflicting status ailments, and that's just plain old good. I'm going to call her Laya, short for liar, but we don't tell her that. Lastly, in the front row, we have Battle Medic, because in every Etrian Odyssey game but the third one, I run with a Battle Medic because I love them so much. I'm going to use this portrait and call her Sakura. And finally, well, the back row people. Sniper. I highly recommend you pick up a sniper early in the game. They are the only class capable of dealing binds this early in the game, and that's kind of necessary. So, I highly recommend you pick one up, especially if you start feeling like you have problems with a certain boss later on. But more about that boss when we come to it. No need to get ahead of ourselves. And finally, we're going to pick up a Rune Master. Magic is magic. Magic is awesome. Magic does lots of damage. Magic is great. I'm going to call her Frost. She's not necessarily an Ice Queen, but Frost Queen is going to have to do quite enough. Naming her after Jack Frost from the mascot, the mascot for Atlas. So that's it for that. Let's go over to formation. Hee-ho. Arrange, Floralisa, Sakura. I basically created them in order. I typically like having the buffer as the first person, so I can choose what buffs to put up immediately if I want to put them up. So my team ordering is a little specific. You can, in this game, something you're gonna love, is you can set up squads, so even later in the game, you can have your characters in a specific lineup and not have to go through a lot of hassle. I highly recommend you take advantage of this, and basically I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So that if I retire, /rest, /move characters around later, things become easier on me. Alright, that's it. Go to the Grand Court and talk with the Count. Now the rest of the game is opened up. So we have an inn. I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'm not going to try. I'm going to try my best not to give you guys the finger all the time. I'm sorry. Baron Outlier, that's the shop. Dancing Peacock, that's the place at which we're going to get quests, but we can't get quests until we have to beat the first mission, so we can hold off on that. Explorer's Guild is the place we're just at. Cargo Wharf is the place where you manage QR codes and skyships, I think. Mark Grand Court is basically the Via Sinitus, or basically it's the place you go to get your missions and stuff. And City Gates allow you to exit to the overworld. So, let's go over and make our way to the Mark Grand Court. And begin. Mind the carpets! Mark Grand Court. This is the Outland Count and his dog. I think his name is Margarita? Yeah. You must be explorers. Yes, we are. No problems. This is the closest city to Yggdrasil. Good to know. He is the Outland Count. Alright, Outland Count. Here in his Grand Court, where the important duties to be carried out, I assign explorers missions. Missions are great. But all explorers who arrive in Tharsis like yourselves, we want only the best on the hunt for Yggdrasil. So we need to be given some sort of test, as something rudimentary to show that we're worth their time. So you can respond with any of these. If you respond with annoyance, I think he gives a slightly negative connotation, but otherwise he's like, you're reasonable and, you know how to think about your stuff. Very cautious, yes. I don't think that text box has anything to do with anything. Most of the choices in this game are just flavor choices. And then all we have to do is accept the mission to continue on. Obtain an iridescent ore. Alright. I'd like for you to head to the Old Forest Mine on the outskirts of the city and evacuate some iridescent ore. Okay, no problem. Just go to an old abandoned mine, get some stuff, get out. Should be pretty easy. Iridescent ore is pretty shiny, reflects colors of the rainbow. But its true worth is not found in its booty, though I'll explain more about that if you complete the mission. Okay, so, we have our first thing to seek, our first step on the way to Yggdrasil. In advance, he's going to give us 500 in, because we start with nothing, and he figures we may as well go into the dungeon with more than just daggers and tweed, and I agree with that. So we're going to quickly leave, and go over to the Baron Outlier and get stuff. And also meet the most adorable shopkeeper in the game, Winnie. Yes, more adorable than Abigail from Etrian Odyssey 2. A crime, I know. I know, impossible. Alright. So she's giving a basic tutorial on how to get stuff into the shop. Basically, you sell stuff, she makes things, and you can buy those things. And you bring stuff, you get money. So basically, the economy of this game is you sell monster bits to them, they make stuff out of the monster bits, you buy the stuff they make out of said monster bits. Of course, it's probably a little bit more than that, but hey, gotta start somewhere. We're going to begin by getting a short sword for Flora. I'm not going to get that much in the form of weapons this early on. Like, for example, I'm not going to get... Actually, I should get one for her, yeah. Okay, we'll get one for her. So, that's it for that. I'm not going to... Okay, so, medics can use maces. And maces are awesome. However, you unlock the Nidary so early in the game that I just recommend you skip the light mace. If you pick a fortress, or a medic, or both, just skip the light mace. Maybe get the light mace early on if you have like an attack skill you want to use. But otherwise, skip the light mace on the first go around, because the Nidary is not much more expensive, and it's more useful. If you have back row characters, make sure you absolutely give them their weapons. You want them to be as effective as possible, so if you have people in the back that can use bows, give them bows. And if you have a mage, make sure you give them a wand. And here's the number one reason. So here's something that needs a little bit of explaining. Spellcasters use tech, and as a source of their base damage is based on tech, basically. And the more tech, the more damage you do. The more damage you do, the faster you kill the monsters. The faster you kill the monsters, the more alive you are. And the more alive you are, the more rewards you get. And the more rewards you get, the more money you get. The cycle continues. So get your Rune Master a wand. Tech is good. That's about all we're gonna get there. Let's quickly browse through the accessories. Yep, worth it. And equipment, quickly grab a... No, not you, Laya. Laya can use the... Oh no, I have to give her the skill first. Okay, this is a little bit of sequence breaking. I'm not supposed to go over skills in the next episode, but for this I'll just make a quick exception. Bam. Okay. And I think the last thing I'm going to buy is a little bit more armor, especially for her. Funds are a little iffy right now. I can get 3 high boots, and I think I'll just compromise and give everybody high boots. Also gives a small agility bonus, but hey. I'll take whatever I can get for this moment. Alright, and that's it for shopping. We have officially run ourselves out of money, but hey, worth it. Let's go over to the inn and end off this first preparations video. Dang it. It's so hard. Yes, this is our first meeting with Dala, the innkeeper. I don't know how to pronounce that. Lots of our explorers use this place as a base between excursions, aka that's what we're going to do. And if we get tired or anything, just come back here. They have a clinic in the back. We obviously don't have any money, so we don't really want to rest here. But hey, we're not hurt at all, so we're fine. So hey there, everyone. This has been Life. As always, I thank you for watching. Next time, we're going to enter the Old Forest Mine. I'm going to see you guys then.